Welcome everybody to the first episode of Coffee and Comps. Today we're going to be talking about first impressions. And in the real estate world, when you hear the word first impressions, you're thinking about curb appeal. You're thinking about how my house looks from the outside when someone drives up, landscaping, things like that. But I'm here to tell you that before they ever even get to your house, they see your house online. So many times when we're searching for homes online, Zillow, Trulia, Home Finder, so a lot of times we'll come across pictures that don't look so good. Agents especially, but sometimes people, they try to save a little bit of money by not hiring a photographer to take their pictures, and they do it themselves. I'm here to tell you that this is one of the biggest mistakes that you could make. Your whole goal is to sell your house as fast as possible and for as much money as you possibly can. The longer your house is on the market, the less your house is worth. This is the golden rule of real estate. Well, most of the home finding process is done online these days. People go through and they eliminate homes based on what they see, and the only thing that they can see are pictures. And if they eliminate your home before they ever get a chance to step foot in it, chances are your house is going to sit a lot longer. By putting up great pictures online for people to see, it's going to intrigue them enough to want to see it in person. People are very busy these days. They don't feel like going to a house just to see what it looks like if the pictures aren't up to par. So for that reason, my guest today is Hildebrand from Hildebrand Photography. She takes pictures of my listings. She does an amazing job. She doesn't just do pictures of homes. She does pictures of many other things. And we're going to talk to her and find out what makes her tick, why she loves photography, what she loves about Berks County, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm here with Hildebrand from Hildebrand Photography, and I'd like to thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Being the guinea pig, if you will. And I'm looking forward to taking some pictures and picking your brain about some photography things. I used to freelance weddings as a videographer. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the type of person that'll, go here, do this. All right, we got to have this. We're under time crunch. But luckily, the weddings that I did, the photographer was like that. Mm-hmm. So I just piggybacked off of him to get the shots that I wanted.
Correct.
And I look like a great guy. You're so much nicer than that photographer was.
Yeah. I try to always get a relationship with the bride, at least, but preferably the bride and groom. I've generally noticed that the grooms really don't care about the pictures. It's more the bride, or like the mother of the bride is a big one.
Oh yeah.
They're
sometimes worse than the bride.
Yes. But I try to get to know them so I can shoot for them. Does that make sense? Like I don't have a certain shooting style per se. There's styles that I prefer to shoot in, but if a bride wants something specific, I can adapt to shoot to what she wants.
Sure.
So it's always nice to get to know people first, and that's why I really like, if I do engagement shots, I offer it in all my packages. Engagement shots come included. It's a great time for me to get to know them. Like, I've had a bride who was very into motorcycles, so we incorporated, leather jackets into the engagement shoots, or we put the bride on his motorcycle.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you find it difficult to deal with the bridal party at times? Because I know I've been part of especially the groom's, a groomsman. Yes. Has been a little bit inebriated and not really paying attention and just kind of wants to get to the open bar.
Correct. I've had that pretty much in every wedding. some more extreme than others.
I figure we can start off going to that place I was talking about. It's right near my old house. Like literally go around the corner there, and there's just like this valley.
Okay.
It's really nice in the morning. It's probably not as impressive now.
This is the hardest time, like, to shoot when the sun's over top, but it'll be fine.
So what's the biggest challenge about shooting, what do we call this, a landscape?
Yeah.
On a day like today? I mean, obviously it's a beautiful day.
It is. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's a great day to shoot. Right now, the sun is close to just above our heads, so we're not going to get any... It's going to be more challenging because you're going to have more glare. You're going to have to fight the sun. If you are trying to shoot this way towards where the sun is, it's going to be very blasted out. You're going to have to... You have to shoot in manual. That's one of the biggest things. You have to know how to adjust your camera. If I'm shooting this way, I'm gonna have a more flat image. I was just doing some test shots for my lighting. Normally that water would stand out really well. The sun would shine on it, it would look beautiful. But because the sun's not really hitting it, it just looks more flat.
Gotcha.
You gotta find a focal point. That's a big thing. If you just shoot a big open area, it also falls flat. If you have something in your shot that's your main key point, it definitely makes it stand out a little bit more.
So what were you thinking as your focal point?
I loved the water, but there's this tree right to the side of it that it's just pretty. To me, it looks like the flowers around it and just that little circle. So I kind of like that tree to be my focal point.
The one to the right of it, you said?
If we're looking at it to our left.
Oh, to the left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that tree looks like it's kind of dying.
Right, yeah, it doesn't.
the one to the right looks a little healthier. So this would be an example of where if you don't have a professional camera, you take a picture with your cell phone, it'll look fine.
Yeah.
But when you put it aside of a photo taken by a professional, you're going to notice the difference.
Right, absolutely. You can't tweak those settings in a cell phone the way you can in a camera. My camera is I can put everything but my focal point kind of out of focus. So my focal point stands out a lot more. But I can also change it when I want everything in focus. So our sun's up here. You can kind of find your lighting. If I go this way, this side of my hand is just totally bright. It's totally blasted out. If I go this way, the back of my hand is dark, but I can see the light shining through around each of my fingers. So it's kind of a way to show you that's going to be a backlight. And if you look real close at any of these, the sun is coming down at the angle that it's at, and it's really illuminating. I don't even know what these are called. These little puffy things. So
that's exactly what they're called.
Thank you.
Little puffy things.
I knew the scientific term for it. So if the sun stays shining nice and bright, which of course now again it's going in, but it'll show all the little hair details.
Right up there.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Cloud. That's super. But it'll show all these little details. It'll make them stand out a little bit.
So the challenge is we're going to make these things, whatever they are, the little puffy things,
Yep.
look nice in a picture. The least interesting thing we could find, we're going to try and make look fantastic.
Yeah. If we could get some sun to come back out, can we blow those clouds over? I feel it's an area where I stand out. I love people. And I offer with every single shoot I do 100% satisfaction guarantee. If for any reason you decide, hey, I'm not happy, I'll come back and shoot you again. I will make it right.
With the camera, not...
With the camera, yes. And
so,
a full battery.
Just to be clear, if you complain, you're not going to get shot.
No, absolutely not. No harm will be done if you complain.
So we have to talk about every photographer's least favorite thing to shoot, and that's real estate, because it's boring and there's no people involved. Because usually I'm telling my clients, get out, don't be there, let her do her thing. You're gonna be much better off, because the real problem is sellers like to control too much.
Oh yeah.
And they don't want to leave it to the people that know what they're doing. So they want to be there for the shoots, and they're like, "Oh, make sure you get that. Make sure you get that."
Or they're like, as you're shooting, adjusting a tiny little thing, and you're like,
"Right, it doesn't matter. Who cares?"
No one cares if your face is facing the right way.
But I was talking before you got here. I was talking a little bit about first impressions, and when it comes to real estate, everything's the first impressions. When you drive up to the house, the quote unquote curb appeal, the way the house looks and the landscaping, which is all very important. But really, the first impression now and going forward is what they see online.
Right.
And printing out a picture is very different than putting it online. You're seeing a lot of people try and cut corners to save a little bit of money by not hiring a photographer to take pictures of their houses that they're putting up on the market, and the pictures look awful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, forget about being a photographer a second. If you were just looking to buy a house, if you saw a house that maybe by the description sounded like what you wanted, but then you looked at the pictures and they were awful, wouldn't that stop you from going to look at it in the first place?
Right. I would not go look at it, chances are, because what I'm seeing right there isn't appealing to me, so I'm not going to waste my time to drive out there and see it in person.
Right. And it's really hard for the generation that's selling their houses now, and they're downsizing, to understand that, because when they bought that house, that was not the case.
Right.
You went out on a Saturday, you went out on a Sunday, and you drove around with your agent.
Mm-hmm.
And you looked at houses, and oh, that one looks beautiful, I want to look at that one. Or you got a description of it, this one sounds great.
Right.
Maybe you got a little thumbnail picture of it. This sounds great, let's go take a look at it. Now here's 30 houses that fit my criteria.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at the pictures of all of them and narrow it down to 4 or 5. What's usually your go-to Mexican?
Honestly, I really like refried beans, like in a burrito.
Really?
I'm picky about meat. I'm weird. Like, I will not eat chicken outside of my house, and even at home,
Really?
I barely eat it. Yeah, but I'm the first person to eat like a medium rare steak.
How about this? Get the corn out of my face.
Corn on the cob?
Sour cream, cheese, and spices.
That sounds very interesting.
That's a definite. Cactus?
What is? Yeah, I don't understand. Is that like real cactus?
And do you guys have coffee?
No, we didn't.
No coffee? Okay. Figured I'd ask about the coffee, since the title of this series is called Coffee and Comms. So you've never had Mexican soda before?
I have not.
You're in for a treat.
I'm excited.
How is the I don't know how to pronounce it, the one with the cactus in it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it good? I'm just always like curious about trying new things. Awesome. Thank you so much.
And I will remove this from the table.
You can leave one, yeah. We might grab something else, yeah.
Thank you. It does look like green pepper.
It does.
Doesn't smell that much. Yeah. It doesn't have a bad taste. I'm not a fan of the texture.
No?
No.
I feel like if this was on a taco with like sour cream and
Yeah, I don't think it would be
lettuce
bad.
and, like she said, tomato.
Yeah, just eating it alone, I feel like that's very interesting. We just ate cactus.
Right?
I think I'll try one.
Huh.
That is like
That is awesome.
That's amazing.
I have a very good feeling that this is going to be the greatest thing I've ever eaten in my entire life.
Wait, can I take a picture of you holding it?
What?
Yeah, I think I want to try the Senor Ramon.
I'm gonna try the Eagle Powers.
I used to do my Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve. So I would go to the mall. This was like before Amazon was big and everything like that. I would go to the mall with an idea of what I wanted to get people, and they'd be sold out. So they would just get whatever was left.
When everything went good with the sale of your parents' old house.
Yeah, that worked out. We had a week left before the contingency on their new one was up, and we got an offer. Wasn't what they wanted, you know, obviously, but it was basically like a swap. You know, they got theirs for $275, and they sold their old one for $285.
The house was beautiful.
It was.
I can't believe it didn't go for asking price.
It's weird out there. There's nothing to compare it to. It's right on the borderline of Wilmersdorf and Robisonia, so like that definitely hurt them because some of the comps they did use for the appraisal were in Wilmersdorf.
Oh.
Wilmersdorf is a different world than Robisonia, home value wise. So
That's
if you picked up that house and put it in Wernersville or Sinking Spring, it would have been worth $400,000.
Right. I don't want to move, but our house is too small, and we really should move. But the thought of packing again, and I had to pack when it was just myself, Brett, and Delaney. Now I'm adding 2 more people to that, and
which
all
is miserable.
those boys. I dread it. Personally, I'd rather just leave it all and just
right, yeah. Oh, by the way, all these toys come with the house.
everything. But I dread packing, and I dread having to clean. And I know that sounds terrible. My house is cleanish. I babysit. I have 2 huge dogs, one of which has hair everywhere. But I just think about like keeping my house perfect for showings, for pictures.
That's the worst part.
Everything. I don't even know what to do with it.
It's more than a full-time job to keep your house show ready with kids and dogs. If it's just you and a significant other,
Right.
it's hard enough.
Right.
But
I mean,
because it has to be, because as a realtor, we're telling you never turn down a showing, no matter what. When you were looking for your house, what was the best part about what your realtor did? Like, they do anything that like set themselves apart?
yeah, I mean, I'm picky. I'm really picky, and it was a huge step to buy a home. So she was very patient. I mean, she took us to crazy amounts of houses and I felt like we were her only clients for a while. She spent every moment with us. We got to know her and her family on a personal level. It was nice. But she did convince us to look outside of our set area, which I was dead set against, and we ended up buying outside of our set area.
Is there something she did that you didn't like?
Yes. I feel like maybe she was not educated as much as she could have been in certain areas. We had moved, when we saw our house, I mentioned the field behind our house. I originally thought that was part of our property. I thought our property went down the little hill and out into this field, and that's the impression she gave us. And when we were signing, we found out that was not our property at all. Our property stopped before the field. So that was, instead of going to find out for me and just admitting that you didn't know something, it just it was a bummer. It wasn't a deal breaker, it was a bummer.
The ultimate test of a great photographer is if they can make me look good in a picture. I photograph horribly. There's not a single good picture of me anywhere in the entire world. So we're going to see if Alana can do this. I'm here with Chris Daub from Fidelis Mortgage Corporation in Ephrata, Pennsylvania. We're shooting from the historic Donekers building. Chris was nice enough to give me a tour, and it's a great building. If you ever get a chance to stop by, I encourage you to do so. A lot of great things going on here. And Chris, we were talking earlier today about the home search and first impressions. And we were talking about how back in the day, people used to drive around with their realtor on Saturday and Sunday, and their first impression would be the curb appeal of a house, how it looked from the outside, landscaping, things like that. Today is a little bit different, whereas most people search for their home online. The first impression of the house, of your listing, is going to be pictures that you take. So we stressed how important it was to hire a professional photographer, make sure you get great pictures online. There's other impressions in the real estate industry that have nothing to do with looking for a house, that really have everything to do with after you find a house. And those impressions, I feel, have to do, are on the lending side. Most people, most first-time home buyers, I should say, end up getting their loan through a government program. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's some great programs out there.
FHA, USDA, VA.
Yep.
Am I missing any?
No, I think you pretty much covered the government lending side.
And am I correct in saying that those organizations have a list of things that they look for before they'll approve a loan?
Yeah, absolutely. So these government organizations, want to make sure, because we're using our public funds, our tax dollars, to fund these programs just in the event of a foreclosure, and going to be giving these monies to the banks in those instances, which hopefully never happens to you. But we need to make sure that the property holds its value and also is in a livable condition for you when you move in. So things that are on the appraisal, things that they're going to be looking for are going to be such as exposed wires, chipping of paint. If the home is near a water area, there's going to be outlets that are going to have a certain type of protection that need to be on those. If it's a VA loan, there's a specific type of drywall that needs to be on the ceiling. So looking for those kind of things, especially using the government low down payment programs, are going to be critical when you're doing your home search, knowing that you're going to be taking advantage of those low down payment programs.
And Chris, obviously a good realtor is going to be able to help people notice these things, but do you think that it should be, people should take it upon themselves to make sure that they're looking for this before they decide to put an offer on the home? Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's critical, knowing those kind of things. But the other thing, I'll throw it back to somebody like yourself, an experienced realtor, is going to know a good portion of what's going to be looked for when it comes to, hey, is this going to be able to be accepted by USDA, FHA, or VA? So
Chris, I wanted to ask you, when I refer one of my clients to you to get pre-approved for a mortgage, or when someone calls you directly to get pre-approved for a mortgage, there has to be a snapshot of a few important things that you look for right off the bat. What are some of those things that potential buyer or someone thinking about buying a house in the near future could work on right now that's going to help their chances?
Yeah, that's absolutely a great question. And any client that I talk to who is looking at the possibility of buying a home, I'm definitely going to ask some questions relating to their credit. Let's check that out, see where things are there. Let's also ask about income situations. Are we employed? Are we retired? Are we getting money from a pension? Or is there other qualifying income that we'd be able to use? And then also, how much money are we working with as far as a down payment and closing costs? And yes, depending on the program, depending on the circumstances, you don't need a lot of cash. There's a big myth with, needing 20% down. That's not necessarily the case. And I usually tell a lot of my clients there's no wrong answer as far as how much money that you're working with, but having those three things and just being able to see that snapshot is going to be critical to figure out what kind of loan program we're looking at and what our next steps are.
That's great advice, Chris. I think it's really important for people to know that you shouldn't be afraid to try and get pre-approved because you feel like you don't have a big enough down payment. There's so many things out there that we can do to help you. Chris can help you, I can help you with, that we could potentially get you into a house without a huge down payment. So again, I'm glad you dispelled that myth. I really want to thank you for doing this, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if people have questions about lending or the services that you offer, where can they find you?
So they can actually find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Ephrata, as in the town, Mortgage Pro. Very easy to find. I'm also easily accessible on the phone, on email, and through text message as well. So all my contact information is going to be on my Facebook page, or you can also check us out on the web at www.fidelishomemortgage.com. And as an appreciation for you coming over and stopping by today, I actually have something for you as well.
Oh, awesome.
So I got this wonderful Fidelis Mortgage Corporation t-shirt for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That is fantastic. Got the information right on the back there. I'm going to post it on the post I make here, obviously. It'll also be in the end credits. I want to thank Alana Hildebrand for spending some time with me today. You can find her on the web at Hildebrand Photography. If you have any questions about buying or selling real estate, you can find me at Jeff Berg Real Estate on Facebook, easy to find. And of course, you can call me anytime, day or night. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.